Hello everyone, and welcome back to Jasmine's Crazy Cat Tarot. And today I want to ask a question to Spirit, because sometimes it's all about the way you ask the questions and it really makes a difference with the answers we get. So this is about Jack and Lilly Sullivan, the Two of Pentacles in reverse and the Devil in reverse. So someone could not balance their responsibilities and someone wanted to break the chains of addiction in some sense of the word. So let's see. Let me just give these a shuffle. These are very big cards, so they are quite hard to shuffle. Someone bit off more than they could chew, is what I feel compelled to say. What was the last thing Jack Sullivan seen before they disappeared? What was the last thing Jack Sullivan seen? The Queen of Pentacles. Okay. What is the last thing Lilly Sullivan seen before they disappeared? We have the Page of Cups. Creativity. Okay. So these can represent people. They could have seen a mother or an older woman and a younger figure who they seen as very creative. And this could resemble that they were with and seeing each other, because the Page of Cups is the psychic child and they were very unified. They did everything together. So this could be symbolic of that you couldn't have one without the other, literally. So let's ask about Malaya. What was the last thing Malaya seen before the children disappeared? What was the last thing Malaya seen? We have the Hierophant in reverse. Okay, so this could be an ex-lover, but this is Malaya overlooking her own intuition, her own instincts. Maybe that's why she felt the need to say her motherly instincts told her to call, because she really was blocked off to her instincts and her intuition. And she kind of had her eyes closed. And Malaya often gets lots of cards with blindfolds, but right here she has her eyes closed. And yeah, she was overlooking something. So maybe this is telling us she didn't see something, but this could be willingly, if that makes sense. She didn't want to see something and she wants to pretend something wasn't real. But she's in a single energy with the Hierophant in reverse. So let's move these out of the way and let's see what Daniel last saw. So what did Daniel last see? That wants to pop out straight away. The Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So he's seen a lack of prosperity, a lack of progress, and he's seen something that could break him, and he wasn't going to let this break him, whatever this is. Okay, what was the last thing Daniel's family seen? Judgment, inner calling. So this is like the ringing of a bell. Alarm bells are going off. So I feel like maybe Daniel's family helped him make a judgment call about something, because Malaya was just not with it. I feel like she could be in some sort of a haze, depression, drugs, bipolar possibly. So whatever happened, or if some sort of mess happened, he called on his family to help him fix the problem, in a sense. We have the Eight of Cups in reverse, so trying again energy. Confirmation. I do feel like Daniel wants to try again, but Malaya is in her single energy, and now that she's had her wake-up call, she's not going back to where she was broken, is what I'm getting. So let's see. What was the last thing Jack and Lily seen before they disappeared? Drugs, poison. Okay, so Jack and Lily could have seen something that was happening in the house. This could also be at a party. Flowers are also significant. White powder, white pills. What was the last thing Malaya seen before the children disappeared? Fraud. She's seen through someone's falseness. She was overlooking it, but she saw someone's true colours. And this could be something to do with how someone's getting money. Yeah, she woke up to something that she didn't see. Okay, so what was the last thing Daniel Martel seen? A man-made disaster. Yeah, so there was a mess that he had to clean up, and it could have been a mess that he made himself. What was the last thing Daniel Martel's family seen before Jack and Lily went missing? Neighborhood. Okay, so a neighbor came up in my last reading I recorded. So a neighbor could be significant. They could have called on a neighbor to help them. Because birds of a feather flock together. A neighbor could be involved in some sort of financial investment. They could be friends, maybe do drugs together. I don't know. But I feel like he called on his family, and then maybe a neighbor got brought into it. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Someone who owed him a favor. So, yeah, maybe his family were talking to the neighbors to maybe distract from something that was going on. Yeah, his family could have been providing a destruction, I was going to say. So any destruction that happened would be overlooked. So, okay, background energy. We have the suicide again. Okay, so someone wanted to make something look like it was self-inflicted. And when we're going back to this, I do feel like maybe the children were being dosed to go to sleep. I don't know if it was with hard drugs necessarily, but the children could have seen certain goings on in the house, or they could have been sedated to go to sleep, or for even worse reasons than that. So the children could have been sedated for one purpose and then taken, or something went wrong, a disaster happened, and there's a fire again. So something happened, and I feel like it had to be covered up, this disaster. Okay, so let's get the true emotions and the tea. What was the last thing Jack and Lily saw before they disappeared? Please and thank you, Spirit. What was the last thing they saw? Romance and a cycle. Okay. And they're traveling somewhere on this bike. Were they taken somewhere on a bike, a motorbike, a vehicle, a quad of some sort? But they could have been sedated in order to be moved somewhere else. And it could be confirming what I'm saying, that they were sedated so people could take advantage of them. Something could have went wrong, especially if it was happening at a party by or with numerous people. So Malaya's true emotions. But I specifically wanted to ask, what did Malaya last see before Jack and Lily went missing? A firestorm. Yeah, there was a big fight, and yeah, she was drinking, sedating herself to cope. And she was sedating herself to cope, but she wasn't seeing that the same thing was being done to her children. So someone was keeping her dosed up the same way maybe the children were dosed up. But she could have been doing it to herself. Okay? And that's why she didn't see this disaster. We have too late that flipped. So yeah, something was too late. It was a disaster. There was no going back. So it had to be covered up. And what did Daniel's family see before the children went missing? Okay. Pregnancy, DNA, fake news. This is showing me that his family were providing some sort of a distraction, fake news, in order to sell the story. So this could have been some sort of a false start, or his family could be gossiping that Malaya is pregnant, or the DNA of a child could be under speculation. But I do feel like they were providing a distraction to the neighbours. If not, maybe there's a creepy neighbour who was involved in this party or in this kind of trafficking deal sort of a thing. We have Jezebel. Yeah. So something nefarious was happening, and I feel like maybe something nefarious was brought to light. Maybe Malaya came out of her haze temporarily, seen what was going on, and all hell broke loose. There was a firestorm, literally. And I feel like someone was having a mental break from reality. And yeah, they had to figure out a way to cover up this man-made disaster. So let's get the tea. But I do feel like this fits here in some sense of the word. So what did the children see before they disappeared? What did Jack and Lily Sullivan see before they disappeared? Thank you, Spirit. Moving. Okay. Yeah, so they were being moved, maybe in an object. Look, the pumpkin. So this is referring back to my previous reading where I was asking Spirit, why did Donna get a pumpkin in regards to the children? And this is telling me that they could have been moved in a vehicle, but in a container, even in a pumpkin. Maybe they could be there now, but they're haunted. Something bad was happening. And yeah, it's not good. It's not good what they seen. It's not good what happened, because they had to be moved like packages. Yeah, so the poem that she was channeling was, Peter, Peter, pumpkin eater, had a wife but couldn't keep her, put her in a pumpkin shell, and there he kept her very well. So I feel like the children could have been moved in a vehicle, but they could have been put in something before or after the fact. And even when they got to their destination, they could have been transferred or, you know, handed over in some sense of the word. But I think it was too late. I don't feel like, I don't know. Was someone trying to take them out of a traumatic situation? What was the last thing Malaya seen? We have Brocass. She was accusing Daniel of not putting his money where his mouth was. Yeah. She maybe seen something to do with sex trafficking. And if it was to do with her or her children, I feel like that's what woke her up out of this haze. But I feel like he could have been very arrogant about it. This is my house. It's my way or the highway. And she was ready to walk anyway. They were bumping heads because she was not happy. But he, in his mind, was trying to make her wishes come true. Okay, so what was the last thing Daniel saw? We have kissing ass in reverse. He was done playing nice guy. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Now it's time to show you the consequences. Because maybe he found out something about her and she found out something about him. And Daniel's family. What was the last thing Daniel's family seen? before the children went missing. No facts. Yeah, they were spreading misinformation, fake accounts, and they're spying. They're watching. Even though they're not talking, they're watching. That's for sure. Happiness hater. So yeah, there could have been a third party situation. And I feel like maybe Daniel and Malaya were fighting because maybe he was accusing her of having wandering eyes or vice versa. And if he got wind of her plans to leave him and take the children, maybe he wanted to make an example of that. I don't feel like he intended to, have everything end up like this. But whatever happened, it was too late to go back. And instead of just owning up to whatever it was, he had to cover his ass, and he brought in maybe his family or his friends. Birds of a feather flock together. And Malaya may well have known about this in the past, maybe nefarious ways of getting money. If she didn't, that could have been what set off this whole thing. But if she did, that's why she can't talk about where they are now, because she's complicit in some form of abuse. And she's scared about being charged for neglect. So she thinks by keeping quiet, it's the best strategy right now for her own sake, because she is putting her own well-being first. She felt like when she was with Daniel, she wasn't putting her own well-being first or her children's, and now she's paying the price. She's feeling the guilt, but I don't feel like she was doing the dirty work per se. I feel like she was oblivious to it, maybe willingly oblivious, but someone wanted to make sure she was on the one level, staying in the haze. And when it all went wrong, I feel like they felt like they had to sort it out and then tell Malaya, you owe me because I fixed this problem and it's your fault, even though it's their doing. So it's very manipulative, it's very confusing, and I feel like she's going to need a lot of healing and a lot of therapy. I feel like she has seen a lot more than she's saying, but she does not want to implicate herself. So that's why the silence is speaking volumes right now. So thank you so much for being here. Let me know down below what you thought, what you'd like to see next. If you have any more questions or suggestions, I will get to them. I hope to see and connect with you again in the next one. And until then, goodbye, God bless, and let's pray that Jack and Lily get found sooner rather than later.